Hey everyone, welcome back into another episode of Flip the Script with Deba Douglas. I'm Jared Sandler. This is episode 4, which is very fitting because we've got a special guest, and I believe this special guest is on his 4th deal with Longhorn Investments.
Yes, what a coincidence.
I don't know that we planned that out. So that would just make it more challenging. We're on like episode 36. We got to find someone who's done their 36 deal. You better get to work.
I need to get the, 2 more deals.
Yeah,
I'm ready there.
You would be the candidate. But we have a special guest, and special guest, introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Sean and Allen. I am one of the managing members of the Allen Wrench LLC, brand new business we started, whoop whoop. And I am a real estate investor in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Deba, how did you guys come in contact? Because I met through you.
Right.
So how would you describe the origin of your relationship?
Yeah, so this is such a crazy story. So Sean and his wife, Tam, they literally lived next door to one of my really close friends. And whenever we would go over to my friend's house for birthday parties, we would always see Sean and Tam. And then during COVID, when the world shut down, we decided to take like a full family trip to Broken Bow with Sean and his family, my close friend, and Samson and I and all the kids. And as we were there, we started talking a little about real estate investing. You know, it's something I'm very passionate about, so I can spend hours and hours talking about it. And Sean and Tam had mentioned at that time they had their rental. It was probably about an hour away from their house, and they were wanting to do more. And as we just kind of started talking, it just evolved. And after Broken Bow, we started getting closer, and then they finally joined the mentorship. And now he's on like number 4 deal.
It's pretty crazy. How did you? So you had a rental before you met Deba?
Yes.
Okay. How did you get involved in real estate investing?
Actually, my brother-in-law also gets into some commercial stuff. He does like lots and land and stuff like that. He had met a investor that was leaving DFW and was selling his portfolio. He was going to pick up a couple of the houses, but there were a couple of houses that were left over, and he just called him, was like, hey, would you like to snag one of these houses from this guy? And I was like, yeah, he already had a tenant in place. And so it was already cash flowing a little bit. And so we were basically just taking over the lease, just, buying it ourselves and just picking up where he left off. So that's how we got started. We didn't know that we had done everything like wrong. Like we did everything through ourselves, not like through a business or anything. So we had a humongous question of like, how do we buy more houses? Like we're already tapped out cash wise. And so there were a whole lot of questions that were just on the table. That's where we started out. And then when we met Deba, that was our first and largest question was like, how do you buy more than one? Like, like we have no clue where to get more money from. So like we're stuck right here. So that's where all the pieces started to line up.
And so you go through Deba's program, right? And we've talked about this, but I think it's important to hear it from someone who's been through it and is a proud graduate of Deba's program. But how, even with someone like yourself who had experience, how did going through that program help you figure out how to take the next steps and grow as an investor?
First of all, it was just knowledge. There were a lot of things. You live in your own house and, you know some things about your house, but you really never get into the nitty gritty of, okay, what do I look for if I were going to purchase a house that wasn't brand new, or, what are some of the pitfalls, those types of things. So knowledge was the biggest thing for me. There were a lot of things that Deba taught us. Like I said, even the money piece, she was like, oh, it's easy to buy another house. She was like, let me introduce you to Jared. I was like, who's Jared? And so that just unlocked a whole nother side of the game that we had no clue was even sitting out there to be played. Yeah. And so just learning that, and then her team that was also involved made the road to buying, another piece of property so much smoother. There were so many questions that we just didn't know, like, okay, what's this form? What's that? Who do we talk to? Do we need permits? Do we, all those things. And the mentorship is what solved and answered those questions for us, questions that we didn't even know we had. And so it just made the road a lot more smooth because it was like, I mean, literally, it's somebody taking me by the hand and saying, hey, when you get to this step, you're going to need to do 1, 2, and 3. And then after that, this person's going to call you. You're going to need X, Y, and Z. And it just made everything so smooth that, I mean, I'm proud to be an alumni of Deba Douglas Roadmap to Investment University. Seriously, like, I wouldn't be here. I know I would have ran into some pitfalls and some stumbling blocks and possibly failed had I not had somebody with my best interest in heart and was literally trying to help you move through and do the same thing that they were doing. So, I mean, shout out to Deba like all day long, because we wouldn't be here if we didn't have the tutelage and the mentorship that we received from the course.
Oh, wow. I did not expect all that. I feel like I need a tissue or something.
Well, you deserve it.
Thank you so much, Sean. And I will say that if you can talk to us a little bit about that first deal and then kind of share a little bit about the things that went well, that didn't go well, that you learned, that kind of pivoted you to buy more.
Sure. Our first deal was in Mesquite, which is not far. It was really close to my house, actually, so I didn't actually have to like drive because remember our first property was in Fort Worth, so it was like at least an hour, and if there was traffic, like way more than that, which made it just a horrible, commute to get there and come back home. So this deal was in Mesquite, which is close to our house, about 15 minutes away. The deal was found with her first realtor that she really worked with, which was Chaz. The deal was brought to the mentorship, and she actually just posed it to the whole group, like, hey, there's a deal that's there. The numbers work. This is how much you need to bring to the table. This is how much you will make. And if anybody's ready to move forward, go ahead and basically put your hat in the ring, and we'll go ahead with the deal. And so, we always pray about it. I talked to my wife, Tamara, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, you've done all the modules, you've watched all the videos, you've asked all the questions. She's like, now it's just time to just put it into action. And so we took the deal. Deba introduced us to a GC because, of course, like I said, we're learning. We had never like flipped a house before, like to find all the problems and fix them. So she introduced us to a wonderful GC who was helping us communicate through the process. Because I know I was asking everything. I was asking all types of stuff. And so, I mean, he walked us through the process, and we were able to, pick out the design and colors and this. And then, like, we kind of walked through it. And Deba came every so often. She would come and walk the property. She'd be like, hey, are you on budget? Are you on budget? Are you on budget? Because she doesn't want you to lose money. Like, she knows that that's a pitfall. Like, you can mess around and put a $10,000 chandelier in the house and then blow your whole budget. So she was like, are you watching the funds? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? And so that first deal went well. We did have a few hiccups. I know we had a hiccup with like the texturing. Like we got a paint crew, but the guy was really a contractor, not a actual painter. And so his painting skills were slightly lacking. And so we did have to go in and just get somebody to kind of clean that part up. We found termites in the kitchen wall in the backyard. We had never dealt with termites before. But once again, every time we ran into something, it just was like hey, Deba, like, well, what would you do if you ran into this? Because guess what? We got some bugs in the wall. And Deba was able to just be like, hey, this is what you need to do. Here's a guy you can call. And she lined it up so that you were just, he tossed you the ball. All you had to do was swing. And so, I mean, it was very easy to do. And then when we got to the sale of the house, her team was ready to go. They were ready to list. They were ready to get on the MLS. They told us exactly how the process worked, what would happen if you got a contract quickly, and also what would happen if the house sat for a little while, like what things would happen. So I was very confident moving into this. Like there were yes, there were nervous times and things where I was just like, ooh, what are we gonna do about this or that? But the majority, we came out confident. And even though like we didn't make top dollar on the very first deal, we learned. And that was the thing that made me want to say, all right, let's go. I know how this works now. I know how we kind of like, move and how you navigate a little. And so let's see if we can make a bigger deal, later on down the road. I was hooked already. So, I mean,
it is very
I've
addicting.
already got the bug, so we're ready to go.
I love that. I love to hear that because there were a little bit of hiccups. Like I remember me coming out and we were trying to come up with the flow of what we're going to do in the kitchen. And then later on, we kind of figured that out. And then I came out again, and then there was an issue with the tile. And I remember Sean saying, it's not that bad. It's okay. We can still do it. I said, no, this is unacceptable. And so I stepped in, reached out to the contractor, and I said, I need you guys to come back and you're going to fix it or I'm going to get somebody else to fix it. But this is unacceptable. Like, you wouldn't sell a house with this. And so that contractor came back out and within like 2 or 3 days was fixing everything that we needed to get done. So it's always good to get multiple eyes on the house, because Sean's seeing it every day and he's like, oh, it's not a big deal. And I'm like, no, we have to be able to sell it. Because in my brain, I'm like, yes, I'm your mentor, but I'm also thinking about the realtor side.
I want to ask both of you a question about that, because I'm thinking about my dynamic with me and my wife. Sean, I think I would probably say, oh, it's fine, it'll be all right. And then my wife would take charge like Deba. But was it okay, like in your mind, because the whole process was overwhelming and you just didn't want to add to the to-do list? Did you not want to, was it like a desire to avoid confrontation? Like, what was, because I'll tell you, for me, I'd probably be like, I don't want them upset at me, and like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, let's just move on to the next thing, which is not good, right? And so there's a follow-up question to this, but what was it for you? Why were you in that moment, if you remember, okay with moving forward and not maybe, hey, no, we need to get this right?
Actually, Jared, you're hitting it right on the head. I was at the house almost every day. I'm a teacher. That was my background. And so relationship building was always my biggest thing. And so I always wanted to keep a amicable relationship between me and my contractors and make sure everybody's happy and, make sure we're not, having these impasses and, squabbles and pointing things out and trying to be nitpicky, I guess you could say it that way. And you are correct. I was making myself okay with it, where I needed to be more of a stickler about it. Like, hey, no, this should be done better. And so that was another thing that I learned, and I'm still learning to this day. Deba comes in and she shows you what it means to literally be a boss. Like, you run this. This is your money. These are your dollars that you're putting to work. And when you find something that's not up to your standard or where you think it should be, or this is just subpar work, you have to be able to step in and be like, hey guys, no, this is not right. And then just point it. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be mean and like arguing and yelling and doing all that, but you need to point out, like, no, let me show you this. Let me take some pictures so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And let's get this remedied, instead of just kind of letting things, flow under the bridge and you just don't touch on it. Yeah. So there were definitely times for that.
I've never, we've had so many conversations over the years. Hey, what tips? I've never thought to share this, but listening to Sean talk about this, I mean, it's been right there in front of me. Sean, I'm like you. I said this a second ago. Like, I don't want to deal with the confrontation. It's fine. I'll fix it. It's not a big deal. No, like, I can't tell you how many times I've had to try to stop my wife from, like, no, like, they didn't get your order right. Like, we're gonna, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I can take the pickles off. Like, it's okay. But that's not like that personality trait. I mean, look at Sean's shirt. Look at the logo. He's like smiling. Like, he doesn't want, but that personality trait should not be prohibitive in terms of getting involved in real estate investing, right? But maybe if it is just you, and you don't have a Deba, or you don't have a partner, a wife, a business partner, someone who can be put the foot down person. Yeah. Then maybe you need to have someone who's able to step in those spots, because you don't want to be taken advantage of by people just because they can. These, especially contractors. Absolutely. I think contractors can sense when someone's just, oh, they're too nice. They're not going to say anything. I can cut this corner because I got to go finish this other job, right? Right. It's never occurred to me to think that you got to have that personality a part of your circle to step in when needed. Absolutely. And I will say, after that situation, I have never had to step in with Sean ever again with that. You feel like you're a lot better with that now? Like, you're going to be your own boss, like you said?
Yeah. No, I'm absolutely learning. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
And absolutely. I talk about that a lot.
Actually, like, I've had so much growth in this process. And like I said, One thing, like I said, being a teacher, I'm always trying to impart knowledge to other people. And so that was one of my prayers, is to always be able to give and share. And like, I don't really hold any cards. Like, I'm not holding anything back. And so I had another issue. I had another property that was later on. And if you don't mind me sharing just a little bit more about that one, where you're absolutely right. Again, like, Jerry, you're hitting all my nails on the head as well. Because like a lot of these things is things I went through. On my next property, I dealt with a contractor who was like, hey, just pay me for labor and you buy all the materials. And I was like, oh, this will be great. You know, I just got a Home Depot card. I'm so happy to be able to use it and, you know, do all this stuff. I absolutely was paid too much. I paid too much in that deal. Because I was just paying for labor, and I was thinking I was making a savings where my savings should have been much deeper because I was buying everything. And all they had to do was come to work and just pick up brand new hammer, brand new this, brand new that. Like, in the beginning, I had bought tools for them. And I was like, they have tools. Like, I should have never had to buy a contractor a brand new hammer or a brand new anything. Like, I should just be buying sheetrock and, you know, and some grout and some, you know, all these kind of things. But like, I paid so much more. And something else that I absolutely learned that I'll just share just for the men that are there. Misogyny is a real thing. I had some pride issues in the beginning. And Deba, no disrespect or anything like that, but just being a guy and always thinking that, oh, I can handle it, oh, I can figure this out. There were things where I just should have submitted and said, hey, I'm having an issue with this. Hey, Deba, you're my mentor. Can you help me? What should I do in this situation? There were some times where I should have just reached out and just been like, hey, what do you think about this? Even if it was just to pull in more information, more ideas, so that I can make a better decision about what was going on. Like, I've been learning so much in this. So I don't know. I hope I answered the question, but that's where I was going. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think that
this mentorship is a lot.
Yes, as the mentorship, we're going to teach you how to analyze deals and how to do all those things. But it also transforms your mind, because a lot of the mentees that we have, they're coming from a regular 9-to-5 job where they have a boss, they have a manager, they have someone telling them what to do. When you come over here, you are the boss. And there's a transformation that happens where the buck really stops at you. And that is what I think I see a lot from a lot of the mentees. Like, they'll know how to analyze the deals, they know what to look for, but really stepping up and saying, okay, I have to make the final say, that is where that struggle. But then once they get it, it's over.
Yeah, you kind of get on that treadmill, and then it just... Sean, any final, like a final piece of advice, something that you think is important for whether it's a new investor or even an experienced investor to know?
I mean, always be willing to learn. Always be open and willing to learn. Uncover all the rocks. Ask questions. Like, right now, I want to learn about pools because some of these houses got pools and I don't know nothing about a pool. So, I mean, learn. Just continue to learn, and don't be scared to ask questions to whoever. Like, everybody has something that they can share and that you can share, that kind of thing. So I like making it a community. I like having great people around me. So like I said, I love Deba. I love the team. Jared, you're on board as well. So we love Jared. We love the team. I think I'm on team 3. I think that's
team 3. Yeah, team 3. That's right. Team 3.
So, I mean, just be willing to learn. Like, you can go so far. Like, you do not have to be so, I guess, alpha driven or whatever. Just find your lane. And like I said, I do my business with a smile on my face. And just, I mean, like you said, like my shirt, I smile at you when I meet you, but I am going to let you know, like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. These are the numbers that I'm within. If we can work it out together, then absolutely, let's make this deal happen. But if you can't, then I'm going to move on, and I'm going to walk up to the next person. I'm going to smile at them too, and I'm going to say, hey, have a great day. So be the boss, but you got to learn. So you got to be able to learn what you need.
Wow.
I love that.
This is so impressive. Like, I'm just so, like, in honor to just see where you started, to see where you are. And Sean is not going to say this, but the last flip he just did, He made over $100,000 on the flip. And I mean, I don't like to put all your business out there. You telling the whole world. But he did make $100,000 on this last deal. And now he's already under contract for another one. It is addicting, but once you know, like, the core of how to do this, I mean, the sky's the limit.
Well, and I'd say, too, Sean, it's been awesome working with you and Tamara. I think it's really cool when we see people, they come in and then they do a second, they do a third deal, and you can tell, like, they're having success. They're vibing with, the REI world, and it's been a lot of fun working with you, and we appreciate you working with us at Longhorn. And even though it's Team 3, which is the processing team, that's not a ranking, I can assure you that. I wouldn't stand for that because I'm on Team 3 too. It's Team 3 in honor of fill-in-the-blank favorite athlete that wore the jersey number 3, but it's really number 1 team. It's just, you can't have everyone with Team 1 at longhorninvestments.com. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings too, right? So we'll let them think they're Team 1.
There we go.
We'll just use the facade of Team 3.
Yeah.
But Sean, thanks so much, and thanks so much for taking time to chat with us.
Thank you.
Anytime. Let me know when you need me back. Absolutely.
Yeah. We need to get. I want to get one of those shirts.
I want a shirt too.
Yeah,
I like that shirt. I do.
Yeah.
It just puts you in a good mood. Just looking
at
it.
How can you not be? Yeah. All right. Well, that's episode 4 of Flip the Script with Deba Douglas, our special guest here today, Sean Allen, for our executive producer extraordinaire, Michael Prager. Want to thank everyone for tuning in, and be sure to be on the lookout for our next episode of Flip the Script as we try and help share stories, expertise, and guidance to get you involved in real estate investing. Awesome.
We did it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sean.